Welcome to our latest Zillow speaker series. I'm very excited to welcome Jim Weber, the CEO of Brooks Running. So Jim has a long career of brand building, including having spent time at marketing at a little company called Pillsbury, where he worked on something with a little doughboy. So he was in marketing and brand management in the refrigerated dough division at Pillsbury, and then president of Coleman Spas, and then he ran O'Brien International, the water ski company, where he hired our very own Doug Slotkin.
I did.
So Doug worked for Jim for several years, and during Q&A we can ask Doug Slotkin stories if we'd like. After like me, a brief stint in investment banking, he then thought better of it and left investment banking to come back to the real world. And for the last 14 years, he's been running Brooks Running, which is a 100-year-old brand. So please welcome Jim Weber.
Thank you, Spencer. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. So it cannot be a coincidence that Doug Slotkin is not here today. I would have loved to have seen Doug today, so hopefully he's having fun somewhere. Really an honor to be here today. We're a neighbor company here in Seattle. I met Spencer at the E&Y Entrepreneur of the Year event. Unfortunately, we were a runner-up. We actually came in second nationally to GoPro, not a bad little company. But congratulations to you, not only on that honor, which is significant, but on all the success you're having as well. So what I wanted to do today, what an opportunity, is a couple things. One, introduce you to Brooks, and the best way to do that is experience our products. So I have discount cards. If you haven't tried Brooks, there's still time. And we've got some giveaways at the end, so hopefully if I'm really boring, hang around. You might win something at the end. What I'm going to do today is just open up our story, and we are super excited about the opportunity we have at Brooks. We're building a brand right in the middle of the running lifestyle, which is the largest category in all of sporting goods. There's a few little companies that participate in that category. One rhymes with sticky down in Beaverton, Oregon. I call it Nicky. But it's a great category, and we've been executing a strategy in that space for 12 years now. And so I'm going to open up that story. It's a great strategy case study. It's a great focus story. It's a great culture story, and we're having a ton of fun building a business and a brand. So I'm going to go through this really quickly, and then we're going to have some time for questions, which I'm excited about, see what's interesting to all of you. So we've been doing this for 12 years. It's a 100-year-old brand. Had way too many owners, way too many CEOs, had been bankrupt literally almost twice. I started in 2002, and we were private equity owned by a great private equity firm, but I became the fourth CEO in 2 years, and the company had lost its way. And so we exited the athletic footwear industry, and I'll talk more about that, and really focused on the run. At that time, we were doing about $62 million in sales. We actually exited about over $20 million of revenue that was in broader family footwear and the like that we frankly weren't making money on. But we were everything to everybody, and we were sort of seventh in the market at it. We were not number one at anything. And so the first thing we did is we looked at the marketplace, and the athletic footwear market is huge. It's about $12 billion globally, and it's basketball, court shoes, tennis, running, of course, football cleats, baseball cleats, and what we like to call barbecue shoes, because the bulk of the athletic footwear market is family footwear. It's lifestyle, it's casual. That, you know, most of Nike's sales, and Nike's a phenomenal brand and company, never go to the basketball court, they never go out for a run. It's casual family footwear. And so with Brooks in 2001, half my business was in $30 athletically styled family footwear that we sold at Big Five, Kohl's department stores, Fred Meyer, places like that. And we were actually losing a ton of money on it. So, you know, there's a couple, it is Seattle, right? This probably wouldn't go over that well down in Cupertino, but, you know, I think when you're at an inflection point in business, true courage comes from either seeing an incredible opportunity or standing on the edge of a cliff and looking at fear of failure. And Brooks was at that point. We didn't need to exist. No one, frankly, would have missed this brand. But we had a couple shoes, and we had a niche in the running shops. There were a couple key shoes that every running shop, every running store worth its salt had to carry that we made. And so we doubled down there, and we became a running brand. We focused on this mission, and I was super excited to be at this E&Y Entrepreneurs event. I think entrepreneurial companies share something in common. They're purpose-driven, they're values-driven, and they resolve the puzzle for a customer, right? And we were going to resolve it for runners. So we anchored in on this mission of inspiring people to run and be active. We put it in the lobby. It's the only thing we have ever put up on the wall in our company, and it really organized our thinking around what we weren't going to do. And it took off the table every other category, and we never looked back. And becoming a running brand versus an athletic brand was actually significant. It's less of a sporting goods company than it is a fitness company, because most people that run are investing in their own health and wellness and fitness. And we saw that 12 years ago. This is an article that was in Sports Illustrated last summer, and it just kind of captured what we saw back then. And our tagline is Run Happy. It's really about celebrating the run and all the reasons people do it, no matter how fast or how slow. But this article talked about what's happening right now, America's second running boom, and it's different from the one back in the 70s and 80s that, Bill Bowerman at Nike wrote a book called Jogging in the late 70s. And Brooks was right in the middle of that trend as well, and running took off as a personal pursuit. But on this running boom, everyone's invited. It's not about breaking the tape. On finishing times in the marathon, performance has been uncoupled from identity. Thank God for me, because I'm probably the slowest guy at Brooks. But that's led to completers versus competers. And it just speaks to the fact that this is a personal pursuit for people. It's just not about breaking the tape. You look at any given race out there, Seattle Rock and Roll Marathon, 20,000 runners. There's probably 200 people that line up at the starting line that think they're going to break the tape, men and women. The rest are out there for all these other reasons. But it's not just a race, it's a catered workout. There's festival atmosphere, it's fun, the color runs, there's pub runs. It's a social activity, and it's about being active. And for many, it's not just a hobby, it's who they are. So that's the energy on it. So, our industry is full of fantastic brands. Maybe the strongest brands in the entire consumer world are in our space. And, we think athletic is very different than run. And, in so many ways, Nike has created the greatest aspirational brand in the history of consumer brands. Everyone that's played a sport gets Nike. It's about epic athletic achievement, breaking the tape. It's about the podium. But running is different for most people. And so, that's this ethos that we're onto. The most exciting thing about our strategy is I believe we're in total control of our destiny because no one's positioned like we are. They have product lines that are super good, and they merchandise into running, but they're not a running brand, and they don't have their culture built around it. So 12 years of this strategy, 12 years of this is the way we compete. And we've evaluated this every year in our strategic planning process. Is what we've done in the past going to carry us forward in the future? Right now, we're pretty focused on it. So first and foremost, it's connecting with runners. We don't spend a penny on talking to anybody that doesn't run. The famous, conversations I often have are on airplanes. What do you do? Well, blah, 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 blah. What do you do? I work at Brooks. Oh my God, Brooks. I love Brooks. You work at Brooks? Best suits I ever had. I've got a whole rack of Brooks. And so the next question is, so that's great. Do you run? Oh, no, God, I never run. Well, that's great. Good to meet you. Keep buying those suits. Every energy, every bit of energy and focus we have goes into connecting with runners. Product leadership. We are completely a product-driven brand, and we're serious about our product, but our brand is about connecting with people in an inspirational level. There's no arrogance in the brand, but we are absolutely leading on product science, art, and runner insight. And so we've got an engine there. With the right 50 people, we can build better product than anyone in the world. Anyone in the world. I can never compete with the marketing spends. Nike spends more today by about 1 p.m., lunchtime, in marketing than I spend the whole year. But product, we can light it up there. And then finally, servicing our marketplace as a niche expert. We're a customer service company. And that actually transcends into running and connected with runners at events and the like. So this has been the way we compete. We've evolved it. As opposed to visible technology, think Nike Shox, think Nike Air. We've never been able to compete there. So we went for all runnability. And so if people are If people are serious about the run, they know if they put that shoe on the store if it's right or not. 20, 30 miles into the shoe, 2 weeks into the shoe, they know if they'll ever buy that shoe again. That's what we've been building for, and we're building fantastic product. The other side of what we've done on the marketing side is key influencers. We've gone after the most discerning, toughest customers, both influencers in the marketplace from trade magazines, sports medicine professionals, 80% of runners get injured, to the local shops and the people that curate the best shoes in the industry. We've tried to win with them, and we've got great relationships. You got to earn that. You can't buy it, and we've done well there. My favorite metric on customer affinity and market share is shoe counts at races, because on a marathon, your shoe is a considered choice. Whether you're doing your 20th marathon or your first one, it's a hard thing to do, and so the shoe is a serious choice because you get pretty beat up. So we do shoe counts at 20 races around the world, not just marathons. We do fun runs and the like, but we're in number 1 or 2 spot now. ASICS is still number 1 around the world, but we're almost number 2 or number 1 everywhere now. And my favorite stat here is Boston, which is coming up again in a month or so. Last year we were the number 2 shoe on course behind ASICS at about 19% of the runners were on a Brooks shoe. We had actually significantly more runners in Brooks than Nike had. And Nike has massive share in shoe sales, but not with runners, which is pretty interesting. And that's what we've been focused on. So a lot of success. You know, we've grown significantly, but we hit another inflection point in 08 and 09. So 08, the financial crisis, the Great Recession, we're all standing at the cliff looking at the abyss. And like a lot of businesses, we paused. But boy, did we see people start to run that spring. Apparel sales stopped because people had a drawer full, but they were running. In fact, our sales in Europe, and we all know how tough the economies continue to be in places like Greece and Italy and Spain. We've grown double-digit in Italy and Spain for 4 straight years. Running has a recession-resistant element to it. Nothing is ever recession-proof, but we made the cut. A pair of running shoes made the cut. So we saw that happen, and we said, we got a ticket to this game. We got to go after this thing. We have to act like a front runner, because we'd been in a methodical, sort of approach to growing our share, and we actually lost share in 2009. It was a wake-up call. So we went to our parent company. We actually took our profit in half. We doubled down in R&D. We doubled down in marketing. We signed up the Rock and Roll Marathon Series. We started investing in sales development around the world. We went after it, and we thought we had an opportunity to be the front runner. And the way we described it is, first 10 years, we got a ticket to the performance running game. Second 10 years, we want to go after leadership. And we thought we had $1 billion opportunity, and it was really around this idea of run happy, of celebrating the run. It's about that second running boom, right? That we were really not an athletic brand. We were going right after the middle of this lifestyle. So think what Lululemon has done in yoga-inspired fitness. It was a total zag from Nike's zig. Think what Under Armour has built coming off the football field and protect the house. It's a brand with a lot different energy than what Nike has. So brand expression. We express our brand in every ounce of marketing communication, visually, written, otherwise. We express our brand in product. The product experience is critical every time a runner tries on a jacket or a pair of shoes. And all that is really important to be different from everyone else we compete with. So when we express our brand, one of the great things we do is we try to have fun everywhere. So we have a VIP porta potty at events. If you buy $100 plus of Brooks gear, you don't have to go to the ugly porta potties. They are heated, they're air conditioned, we have mints on trays, we have red carpet, and it's a VIP experience. And then everywhere we go, we try to be distinctive. We don't want to do anything that New Balance or Nike or any other brand could put it on, and you can see some of the energy in here. We are a little different, actually, but it's all about, at the end of the day, we think we have an opportunity to build a love brand in the middle of this lifestyle. And that's heart and mind, right? It's always heart and mind. The rational side is the product experience. We have to build absolutely the best performance product in the marketplace, and right now we're doing it. Secondly, you got to connect emotionally with what people value in this lifestyle. And obviously that's what our culture is all about. We're trying to connect with the satisfaction, the payoff, and the joy, or even just the benefit they get that they can have a beer on Saturday night because they run. And so that's really what we're all about as a brand. It's our center of gravity. I think about brands. Brands have a center of gravity. right? Nike's is the podium. Lulu's is the yoga studio. Ours is the run. It's in the front, the back, middle. It's along the waterfront. It's on your favorite trail. Ours is the run, and it becomes kind of an exclusive club. And the only thing, if you run in the gym, you're in the club. But if you don't run, you're not going to know us. You ought to go buy a good suit at Brooks. And the other payoff here for us is that people get very tied to the run. It's very important in their lives. And this, one of the great questions we ask runners is, why do you run? Why do you run? And one single mom working, it's my gift from me to me every day. Nothing gets in the way. It is powerful for people. So, and there's a culture behind this at a business level, at a brand level that we're really trying to nurture and scale. We'll just go past 600 employees sometime in the next 60 days, and we've got great opportunities. So with that, I'm gonna stop talking and open it up for some dialogue.
I got a couple, and then we'll open it up. So, can you describe your corporate structure now and your kind of unique ownership status?
Sure. So, one of the things I'm most proud of in this story is we've had 4 owners in 12 years. We had private equity ownership. We were sold into a public company. They got sold into another large company that was a multi-branded enterprise, and now we have our 4th owner. So, Fruit of the Loom had bought Brooks through another acquisition, and we were this little footwear company in this large mass apparel company. And we've been performing well. Fruit of the Loom is part of Berkshire Hathaway. So, about 2 years ago, I had an opportunity to connect with Warren Buffett, laid out our strategy, and the truth is I knew he would fall in love with Brooks as a brand and business because we've got a moat, we got high returns on capital. This is a very profitable business, and it's got great growth potential, and we've been performing. We've tripled the U.S. business in the last 4 years. And so he's fallen in love with the Brooks brand, and 2 years ago he actually called me, and we talked about, the Fruit of the Loom situation, and he spun us out. So now we're a standalone Berkshire Hathaway subsidiary reporting directly into Warren, and he's cheering us on to grow this brand with literally a 10-year investment horizon. So we're in a fantastic spot to build a fabulous brand and business with a great owner.
A couple questions from employees came in about your move from Bothell to Seattle. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we're moving next to a dump, as I was told here this morning. So, we were out in Bothell. We'd been there for 20 years. Half of our employees live on the east side, half live in Seattle, and we were growing like crazy. We were in already 2 different buildings, so we wanted to be in a building with a sense of place, right? So I looked at 50 properties from I-90 to the north of the lake, east side, Seattle, and I got to tell you, we found the perfect spot. If you were going to move a running company here from Mars, and it was going to be in Seattle, you'd want to be on Green Lake, but you can't be on Green Lake because they don't build office buildings on Green Lake. This spot is right on the Burke-Gilman Trail. There's a stoplight there, so almost everybody gets stops. We're putting our first ever store in, which will be a brand experience. We're looking across Lake Union at downtown Seattle, and the running trails around there are fabulous. It's a special spot, the perfect spot for Brooks. So developers building the building. We're going to be the main tenant. And it's deep green, super innovative. It'll change behavior. We're going to measure electricity by the workstation. And we've signed up for dramatic decreases in energy and water use. So sustainability is part of our mission because runners care about it. And so this is a very special building. It'll be a great home for our brand.
So I love the slide, culture eats strategy for lunch. Corporate culture is something we talk about a lot here at Zillow, and we try hard to have a distinctive corporate culture, and I think it's part of our success. Can you talk a little bit about the Brooks culture? How would you describe it? What's it like to work there? What are some things you do to try to maintain that culture?
So I think our culture, every culture is unique, and even companies that ignore it have it, right? I mean, anytime a group of people get together, culture exists. So for us, we're an ambitious group of people. We're very competitive, but we play as a team. And we've got an incredible work ethic, and we love to have fun. And that actually resonates with runners. If you think about runners from your high school or college days, they're not the big people on campus. They're not football players. And runners it's kind of a soul activity, and they work hard. And then they have success if they do it. And so our culture, I think, more or less reflects that. but it's a work hard, play hard culture as well. And that's what happens at these runs. You know, you do a run, you go out and celebrate after. So, you know, we've identified values, but it's not about the values that you put on a piece of paper. It's about behavior every day. It's about your behavior every day. And so, you know, culture exists today in the last meeting, the last interaction that you had. So we're doing town meetings, we're doing department meetings, we're having lots of conversations around these values and the behaviors that come out of them and really what those behaviors look like. And we're trying to be very conscious of that at the leadership level and trying to hire into that mode, of course, and just nurture it every day. So, you know, everything we do, those values should be present at that event. We just did our annual meeting. And the annual meeting is an employee-driven entertainment extravaganza with a little bit of business thrown in. We have 3 hours of fun, and we have beers afterward, and we go through our business results. And every company, every employee at Brooks is on bonus. We are all on the same metrics and the same numbers. So, you know, we go through our numbers, and people know, you know, if we're having business success. So I think, you know, we have to be successful. Walk and chew gum at the same time. We got to build a brand, and that's, you know, that's a lot of creativity and innovation and competing really hard. And we got to run a great business because that's what allows you to play every year. We want to be profitable. We want high returns on capital. We want to manage our balance sheet well, and we've got a team of people that's doing that all together, and that's why it's a team. So we are working it so hard. Not a magic bullet, but it's my number one accountability is to nurture this culture.
One more question, then I'll open it up. Under Armour has been much in the news over the last week or two as the sponsor of the U.S. speed skating uniforms in Sochi, and I'm curious what your reaction was to that whole situation. If you were Under Armour, would you have done anything differently? Have you done sponsorships like that of teams, and you know, how would you have handled that situation?
You know, I think, yeah, so we do sponsor athletes. We sponsor Olympic development teams. The sport is the soul of run. It's not the whole business, but, you know, we're very invested in high school running, you know, and we've got a great team of athletes. We put athletes into every Olympic Games in the last decade, and we'll have people coming up at Rio de Janeiro. So that's part of our business as well. You know what? I think Under Armour got in a tough situation. You know, you want to innovate and you want to push the envelope. How much of athletic success is mental, right? I mean, it's confidence. And obviously, they got sideways on that suit, and they weren't confident about it. And it became a huge media story. And I think Under Armour, the fact that they renewed that deal with speed skating is brilliant, fabulous, double down and go at it. It's about performance is so at the margin. And again, it's both reality and perception. And if the athletes aren't comfortable in it, they're not going to run on it. So on the shoe side, fortunately, you know, the other thing that was just perplexing to me is how that team could never have competed in that suit before. And then the whole team went into the Olympics with new gear. I mean, that's the learning, I think, that comes from that experience. And I'll bet they wouldn't have done that with their skates. And they wouldn't have done it with their shoes, but they did it with the suit. And what percentage of their performance is driven by the suit? You know, you could calculate that out of the wind tunnels in the labs. I don't know the answer to that. At the end of the day, it's a combination of all those factors, and I think the fact that they re-signed the deal and re-upped is brilliant.
People remotely can text me if they have questions they want to ask. Erica.
I saw your really interesting ad in Runner's World, the video set in the paper, and I'd never seen anything like that. I was wondering what made you guys, you try a lot of really interesting marketing tactics, but that was one I'd never really seen before. So if you could talk about that.
Absolutely. So we're bringing Hollywood premiere type launch to footwear product. And we just launched one of the most innovative shoes that we've ever created called the Transcend on February 1st. And we launched it with a spaceship to 500 key influencers that opened up electronics, that made noise, had a video in it. And then the follow-up to that, and it was only 1,000 key influencers that subscribed to Runner's World magazine. So we got to select who those subscribers were. Got the first completely flat in-magazine video. When you turned the page, it was pretty high-definition video with sound that talked about this new shoe. And it actually, you could push buttons. There were actually 3 or 4 videos embedded in that. Never been done in our industry before, and we were the ones to do it. So our board of advisors, response to all that is, it looks like you guys have too much marketing money. How much did this cost? But again, we're trying to do things that no other brand does. And it's so important when you're a small player, we have to stand out. It's so hard to stand out. It's easy to blend in with everyone else. So that's a good example of being innovative on the communication side.
In the back here.
All right, I think I'm your ideal customer here. I've been buying 3 pairs of Brooks shoes since 2001 every year.
Awesome.
So I obviously love your product, and I love your social media team. And I was tweeting while you were talking earlier, and they got back to me within like 2 minutes.
Nice.
So if you could talk to a bit of your social strategy and how that's impacted some of your business goals over the last couple of years.
I think there's no question that the avid runner is digitally savvy, social media savvy, web savvy. We've got a fairly sophisticated core customer. So I would say we're running as fast as we can, to be as connected as we can there. It's all about connecting with runners. And so we've invested there pretty significantly. We compete against some huge voices in this category, obviously, but at the core, we're just trying to connect with runners at every turn, and there's a lot of little sub-communities out there attached to blogs, attached to magazines, letsrun.com, and there's so many sub-communities that we're just trying to be active and relevant in all of those. So, it definitely is our marketing mix is very grassroots oriented. We have 35 gurus in the marketplace. We show up at events. We go out and run with groups that are coming out of retail. At rock and roll marathons, we're present. But digital and social media is so huge for us. So I would say that, we know we've got to be more effective there. We've made a significant investment, but we're just getting started.
Jim, a question came in from outside Seattle. What was the biggest challenge transitioning to building a brand from just focusing on product? So when you became CEO and you started talking about the importance of brand building, what was it like trying to pivot the company to really care about brand?
I think I said this often in the early years. We went dark in marketing. We took all of our ads out of the magazines. We got focused on product, but we were creating key influencer relationships, and we were creating trial on our product. Once we were proud of our shoes, we were creating as much try-on as we could. And I would say you're building a brand every day. Marketing is a turbocharger for us. It's not the way you build a brand. You build a brand creating trust around your product and a product experience with runners, and then the way you communicate and your values and what you stand for. So even when we weren't spending a lot, we were still creating brand. We do it every day, and it's a different mentality. I often said that we're not, at a business level, we're not managing a brand, we're not leveraging a brand, we're not extending a brand, we're not exploiting a brand. We are creating a brand every day because we're creating new customers. And again, it's that rational emotion. It's what we stand for, right? And that's different from our competitors. So communicating that and bringing that through in everything we do is just critical. You do it every day.
What are some brands outside of apparel or footwear that you emulate?
I think we have a lot of respect for Patagonia and what they stand for in the outdoor lifestyle and the way they've executed their strategy. I think Lululemon has been a wonderful brand story and a wonderful business story. They've just built something really unique and distinctive. You can't not admire Nike. They're doing it at scale. It's impressive what they do. So, but I think brands that are even Starbucks. Starbucks is an experience-driven brand. It's not about the coffee, right? And our real dream is to be an experience-driven brand. It's about the running experience. Mm-hmm. And so, I think that's our mode. We're not a shoe company. We're not an apparel company. We're a running company.
So a question came in. Where's your iOS app? So for the holidays, we gave all employees a Fitbit. And so many hundreds of Zillow employees now keep track of one another's activity. And so, Nike is obviously making a big push here. Yep. So what is your strategy here?
We're working hard on that strategy. And for us, it's about runner connection and being connected into communities. And I'd love to have the largest running community out, even bigger than Nike Plus, attached to our brand. The device space, we've had so many opportunities and conversations around devices and communities, such as MapMyFitness as an example, which Under Armour just bought. And we're gonna play in that space. Will we own a device? Will we partner with communities? We're still working through that. Our competency is in fantastic performance footwear. Watch the space on apparel. We're relaunching our apparel for 15. we're going to make some waves in technical running apparel. It becomes the uniform of the run. We don't have a device competency yet. So we're going to partner, and we're working hard on what that looks like. But it's all about connecting with runners for us.
Okay, question here.
Can you talk some more about product development? The 80% injury rate is kind of fascinating to me, and how your team gets data back on how your shoes are doing, and how, besides repeat purchase, and how that all works.
Yep. Science is the core of Brooks running footwear, and we live this science, I would say, more than any other brand. ASICS has got a big investment in sports medicine, but I think our focus on it is really making waves right now. We issued a white paper called Stride Signature just 2 months ago. And it came out of clinical research studies that were done at 2 labs, one University of Cologne in Germany and 2 University of Massachusetts Amherst. We funded this clinical research because of the barefoot phenomenon. And the book was fabulous. If you haven't read Born to Run, but he kind of threw Nike and cushion shoes under the bus. And so no one had clinical data on what injury was coming from. And what we're learning is that everyone has natural habitual motion. And it really comes from your joints. We're all different. And so one runner is not the same as another. And could we all learn to run barefoot and forefoot? Maybe. Good luck. It's hard to change the way you run, just like a lot of things in life. So what we've learned is that everybody's unique, and that means one shoe is not best for everyone. So we're learning a lot more about that. But the new Transcend shoe that we've just launched is the first shoe that reflects what we've learned in that clinical research. We always start with biomechanics. Every shoe we build starts with human biomechanics and the type of runner that we're building it for. So it's not one size fits all. And there's more to learn there. But I think we're at the leading edge of that.
We're going to take the last question here.
Hi, so much of what you do is so unique and different and about making a statement about being different. I'm curious how you go about evaluating that and how you know it's working.
Well, you know what? You're accurate in your former statement, and I would say this, is that customers vote with their feet and their credit card. And that's why customer metrics I've always held equal, absolutely equal to the financial metrics. So we live market share, we live shoe counts, and we live runner affinity and the qualitative aspects of brand strength, right? And we're measuring all of that now. And so all of my senior team has customer metrics in addition to financial metrics. So if we don't win with a customer, financial metrics follow customer affinity. And so, I would say that we're measuring it mostly in market share. And by the way, we're also premium priced. We have our average price in the marketplace is north of every brand we compete with because we only build premium product over $90. So all the success we're having in the best retailers with our best products at full price. And so now measuring it on that basis, I think that's truthful. If it doesn't win with customers, it's hard to be excited about what you're doing.
Please give a warm thank you to Jim Weber and Brooks Running.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.